but hey. So it's really strange because I have been, I'm sorry, I'm looking at these pop-ups from Facebook. Share with the yoga. I don't know. No. Because I have been doing this from the office for a few weeks now. I think 3 weeks in a row. And now I'm home and it's strange. Strange. Had to, I hate to say it, but like fight with my kids to get ready, and that was terrible. And I screamed, and that didn't feel good either. So we had to make, yeah, it wasn't good.
Hey, that's good. My mother did.
We had to make a reprimands before, that's not the word, whatever. I had to resolve everything before I put them to bed because that was not a good feeling. So, and that's part of life, right? Like nothing is perfect, and also our wants get in the way of other things. So there was a conflict of scheduling, we'll say, where I had to be doing something and they really just want me and they're cranky. And so that was the whole thing, and it's okay. It's done now, and my poor little babies are tucked away in bed, and we said our prayers and we calmed down, and ay. You know what I'm saying? Ay. Kristen, I can tell that you're like, you know what I'm saying? Because your hair is down too. She and I both don't normally wear our hair down like this.
I just got mine actually cut. Look, there's no hair.
Oh, look at that. Good for you. Very nice. Hey, John.
7 inches, and I got no gray.
Look at that. 7 inches, man. Yeah, I should do that too. Yeah.
And my mother's first response was, "It's still too long."
It's still too long. Yeah. I've had that response. Really, it doesn't look like you got anything cut off.
This was my response.
And she said this was her response. It's okay. We're still here. Somehow. So,
she's still breathing.
And she's still breathing. You have not killed anybody, and she hasn't killed you, and so it's unbelievable.
3 days together.
3 days. It's okay. That was part of my anniversary card from Billy's. It's like, it's 2020, and we still haven't killed each other. I think that's good. It's like, all right. If that's the standard that we have right now, okay. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. So, what's going on? Let's see. I don't know where to start. I'm at a loss right now. Maybe I'm not really at a loss. I'm just postponing what I want to talk about because... All right, well, this is what I got going on. Today, it felt great to be in the office. It was really nice when it started snowing there and it wasn't sticking. It was just super pretty and happy and calm. What's going on? So this week, there's Nene. Why are you on that, yo? All right, we'll take it. Yeah, I'm glad you're here. Good, that's good. So this week is Christmas Eve. In my family, Christmas Eve has always been huge. It was like always bigger than Christmas. My girls are sharing cookies on Zoom somehow. It's really funny and distracting. Super cute. This year's obviously going to be different. Hey, Margaret. I'm okay with it because I usually host Christmas Eve because I'm in my grandparents' house and it's just tradition. And while I love hosting, hey, Jor, I'm okay with having just a few and just being intimate and slow. That's my hope. Of course, I'm going to miss my cousins. I'm going to miss my brother and all this other stuff. But, you know, I guess at the end of this year, it just feels like it really is okay. Like this is where we are right now. And I'm very accepting of it. And then, of course, whenever we can have those big gatherings again, I'm going to be the first to be like, all right, everybody, let's go. Now they're dancing on Zoom. I don't know what's happening. They're doing their best to distract me. Cut it out. So tonight I really want to discuss gifts. You know, this is the time that we share. Yes, of course, Renee. I didn't say it, but of course. She's saying, and me. Sorry. let's just to backtrack. Renee and her mom, Louise, who I love, I always call her Mama Louise, they are always my guests on Christmas Eve as well. So, of course, I'm going to miss you guys. I was talking about that today, and it's really, it's just really is crazy, sad, but Renee, you and I are going to have our own little fire pit and exchange gifts and just be together. That's just what it's going to be. Danielle, you do need to come on Zoom because it really is where the party's at. Although I love the support on both ends, Zoom is ridiculous. They're raising the roof right now. I mean, like, I'm out of control. There's no control going on with me. The only thing I could do to them is mute them. Stop sharing cookies. It's so silly. All right. So I want to talk about gifts because remember a few weeks back we were talking about ego with the soul, right? Ego versus the soul. When basically the ego can get in the way when you're not connected to the divine. And what I mean by that is when you're not centered by divine. So I'm going to have a little truth right now. The past 2 days, I don't know, I found this praise channel, station, whatever on the radio. I feel ridiculous saying it because I know it's like not a New York thing to do. But, and I have to say, I love the music for the most part. I'm like so embarrassed by it because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like all praise Jesus. And I love it. I guess because I'm obsessed with Lauren Daigle and I don't know if I'm saying her name right, but I love her. And they all sound kind of like that. So I've been listening to that for 2 days and I'm like laughing at myself. I'm like, I really do like this music though. It's not like the Christian rock that I remember. This is all pop and fun. And, I don't know. I'm really enjoying it. Anyway, what was I saying? So when you're not connected or not centered around God or the divine, that's when the ego starts to get out of control or starts to show its ugly little head and all the negative stuff comes up. So now we're going to tie that into gifts. When I sing, generally, like if you can ask any of my friends, if you tell me that I'm going to audition, if you tell me that people are listening, they're actually actively listening, you will see my whole face change. You will see, I don't know, things just start to fly away from me. I don't remember words. I can't breathe. I start to have like anxiety. Forget it. Auditioning in college was painful. If I got into plays because I had other attributes, like I could dance and other stuff like that. It was really, really rough for me. So I never pursued theater any further because I couldn't get over that auditioning. It never got better for me. So I don't do solos. I never auditioned for solos in choir. It just stopped me on so many levels. However, if I'm singing for God, if I'm singing for the healing of somebody, I generally don't have that feeling. I may get it a little bit if I really feel like I'm having a harder time or maybe they're judging me right now, but I really don't get it generally. If I'm fully connected and centered by God, I don't have that feeling. So this is an interesting thing, right? Because suddenly the ego is gone. It's just taken a back seat and I'm able to really connect with the sound. So in those moments when I'm really singing or chanting, and some of it sounds different and weird, some of it are not words that I know or a language that I even know or whatever. My eyes are definitely closed. I'm really, really internal. I can feel energy shifting in the person. I can feel energy shifting in me. I can feel all these things. So it's such a gift. And the other part of the gift is giving, right? You know, how can you have a gift and not give it? So this is where I want to talk about your talents. Talents are, by definition, you know, something to share, really, right? If you're keeping a talent to yourself, some would argue that it's very selfish. Like it's a very, very selfish thing to do. How could you not share that with other people? Because it's a God-given thing that you're inclined to do, you're acclimated to, you're able to do it maybe easier or better than other people. And that should be shared, no? Right? So there are obviously times in our lives when it's not really available to us. Like, for example, like I can't go into community theater right now. I can't go do all those types of things that I would love to do. It's just not my time right now. I'm with my family and my career is in a different way. So there's always a time for certain things. However, to pigeonhole yourself into one area and then stay there, or to forget that you ever did that, that thing that you did in high school, or that you were good at even in elementary school, to ever think that you can't do that again, or you shouldn't do that again, is kind of, short-sighted. It's not going to really serve you. So these gifts. So the big thing we're going to focus on this week, especially since it's Christmas week, is to actually write down your gifts. So girls, get pen and paper.
No.
Do it, or I'm going to assign homework. Do it now, so you don't have to do it later.
And that's not going to stop you from assigning.
Blah, blah, blah. I haven't done it in weeks, so just deal with it. Blah, 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 blah. So, hello, welcome. So if you're just joining us, I want you to get pen and paper, and we're going to talk about our gifts. So my gift of, singing, that's one of the things that I'm going to write down. And remember, this is egoless because we're talking about sharing it with others. So it's going to be all good. So even though you may not think you're the best, you shouldn't think you're the best. You may not think you're even good. You're still going to write down the things that you enjoy, that bring you joy, that make you feel your heart. Those are our gifts. So my first one would be music, singing, right? I also really, really like to write. So I'll write writing. And maybe I like to write poems specifically. If you have something very specific that you tend to go towards, you're going to write that down. So I'm going to wait a couple beats so you guys can all join in on this. You're thinking too much, Renee. Write it. I mean, I can.
So much, my head's full.
I can easily write 5 things down for you if you would like.
Oh well, hell, even I could write down.
Exactly. I bet if you asked your neighbor, your friend, can you write 5 things down that are gifts of mine? I bet they could write it.
See, you did it wrong, Vanessa. You told us to write about ourselves. We should have to pick.
You should have to pick a partner and write about. That's actually a good thing to do. Everybody switch.
Pick a partner and write about each other.
Pick a partner.
There's only 3 of us, so
Renee, you're going to write about Carrie. Carrie, you're going to write about Kristen. Kristen's going to write about Renee. Go ahead. Write it.
No. Do I do? I already. Well, I got 2.
Blah, 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 blah. All they do is be silly like that.
Am I doing you? Who am I doing?
You're going to do Carrie.
What? Sorry.
You can all do me later. I do like this exercise. It's good. Keep it going. So anyway, so I want you to write down those gifts, whether or not you think you're great at it, good at it, mediocre, or it's terrible. I don't care. But you're going to write them down because this is very important for you to realize that your gifts are not ego. Your gifts are not ego. And that's important to understand because you were given those gifts from God. And God saw fit that you're able to do these things, that you're inclinated to do them, and you're supposed to share them. So if you've learned anything from my anxiety concerning my, whatever, my acting, my singing, my dancing, whatever, understand that I'm able to do it the best when I'm really, really not thinking that it's for an audience, when I'm thinking that it's to connect to spirit. Stop laughing at me. Okay. I mean, and this is a perfect example too. Like here I am, out in the public on a camera that I was never comfortable with being in front of a camera, and here I am willingly doing this every Sunday night. Why? Not because I'm getting paid. No. Hey Liz, it's because I'm trying to help others connect to spirit. So look at that. If there's no better example, that would be it. It's a selflessness that is purposely to connect to God and to spirit, and that's why I'm not nervous. Whatever. But if you told me you were going to take a video of me and I'd be like, I don't really want to see myself on video, I don't really want to do that, it would be totally different. But because I'm purposely connecting this way, whatever. It's for God. If I can help like 1 or 2 people a week feel better about their lives, feel better and more connected to God, then that's the best thing in the world. I mean, it really is. How are those lists going, my friends? They're so good. Now, can you share, please, nice and loud and clear? Renee, could you go first?
I'm not first.
She knew I was going to.
I'm not first.
You are first, because I love you.
I'll go first. My list for myself, or the list I make for Carrie?
I don't care. Do the list for yourself first. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Thanks, Liz. I appreciate you too.
I'm thinking it's all ego. I'm trying to tell myself
It is-
what you're telling me.
Okay, well, exactly. That's why I'm here to tell you. It is not ego. Go ahead.
Like drawing, my healing gift, my gift of kindness, and I think you would say music, but I don't use it enough.
She's going like this. Like apologizing for it as she says it. Right. No, I mean...
You want me to do my for Renee now?
Yes, do the list for Renee. This will be perfect. What's the deal?
Okay, I had music.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Kristen thought so. I had artistic. I had healer. And I had connection with animals.
Look at this.
I'll go with the kindness, okay?
Of course.
It does,
of
but
course.
it was very specific because you were stalking Henrietta as much as Henrietta was stalking you for years, and look what happened.
Yeah.
She's a big mush.
I really like this. I like this exercise. So let's see if Carrie's matches up too. Renee, what'd you get for Carrie? Wait, Carrie. I'm sorry. Carrie, go first. What did you get for yourself?
I put humor, drums, music, spontaneity, listening, fun parodies, compassion, laughter.
I got that. Lots of humor and music. What about? All right, go ahead, Renee. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I said. Very musically talented, and that she's a listener, and I put laughter/funny.
I like that. Notice how these things are matching up. Isn't that interesting? Okay. So just as much as you may think that you are not deserving or that you are full of ego as you're saying these things about yourself, here is the person next to you going, dude, I totally see that. What are you talking about, right? So what do we get for Kristen? You tell me for you.
Oh, for me, I had music, art, humor, and no, that was it. No, I was bleeding into Renee's list.
That's
like,
okay.
Hey, that's
And
not a thing.
Carrie, what'd you get for Kristen?
I put humor, music, mandala making, deep connection, conversationalist.
Conversationalist.
Okay, I want to see what was going on with the cookie thing.
Oh,
Can replay
you got it. They were feeding each other cookies. Okay.
So
You show her the cookie thing while I talk to the people. Okay, peoples. So,
I can't hear you.
would you like some, Renee?
Oh, cookie.
okay,
Oh,
just,
thanks,
shush.
Renee.
Okay, good, very good. Eat your cookies.
French toast snickerdoodle. Ready?
So, if you heard what my girls are saying, basically each one of them wrote down some specific things that are gifts of theirs, and they admitted that it wasn't very easy to do necessarily, right? Because there's a narrative going on in that old mind process that, well, how dare I say that I'm good at something or that I'm good at this? How dare I think that I'm worthy of praise or anything like that? And that's not really what we're getting at. We're not getting a worthy of praise. We're getting at you're just worthy. You are darn, damn, whatever. You're worthy. You're worthy because God has deemed it so. And he's given you these amazing gifts that you're supposed to share. So here you are writing down a list that should be like really, really fast because you know what you're good at. You know it. And even if you're not the best, right? Because you're not, nobody is. You are so good at it that God has made it repetitive. And then here's your neighbor next to you going, totally see the same things. And by the way, I see 4 more than you saw. That's unbelievable. If you have this in your life, what are you waiting for? How could you possibly wait any longer to share some of these gifts? It's ridiculous, guys. So here we are, always getting in our own way of, here's my story. I'm not good at that. Nobody will want to hear me. Nobody's going to want to listen to me. I'm not good at that. If somebody doesn't want to hear you in your gift, then guess what? Pass them on by. Go to the next person because somebody else really wants to listen to you. Somebody else really wants to watch you and they want to share with you. And they're going to go, you know what? That piece of art that you made, that, whatever, Bob didn't really enjoy, I love it, and thank you so much for sharing it with me. It reminded me of this, and I really want it by me. That cookie that you share with me reminded me of my grandma and the way we used to make Christmas cookies together. So like all these little things that we think are not a big deal, they are to somebody else, right? You know, we always say like somebody else's trash is somebody else's thing, whatever. This is the same thing. You don't have to like what everybody else gives or gifts, but somebody else is going to. So that gift that you have that you're so worried about sharing, get that story out of your mind. It makes no sense. It's old. It's not useful. And here we are, this holiday season, this gifting time. I know, you know, I don't celebrate Hanukkah, but watching everybody else's Facebook and watching the kids get the stuff, and they were so happy. And part of that happiness is because they're getting one thing at a time. So they're really able to enjoy and appreciate. And I think there's glory in that, you know? So imagine if, you know, some of that list, say you had a piece of artwork, right? And you only had one on display at a time, or you only showed it to one person at a time. Now we put a lot of weight in people too, and this is a thing that we make a mistake with a lot, you know? If I show it to my parent and they don't give me the receptivity that I want, right? There's this openness, this vulnerability, because that's my parent. How could they not give it to me? Well, if they don't appreciate it, it must mean it's not good, right? Immediately, there's that thing. It must mean it's not good. If they don't like my hair, it must mean it's not good. If they don't like this or they don't praise it, it must mean it's not good. No, this is an old story because, especially now, by the way, unfortunately, knock, knock, I hate to tell you, but you're an adult. It's a terrible thing nowadays to be an adult because it's not fun. But I gotta say one thing. You're an adult and that story doesn't fit you anymore. And you're smart enough now and you have the experience now to remember, this doesn't fit me. If I'm not getting that love and appreciation, guess what? I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm not going to waste my time going, oh my gosh, I can't believe they didn't compliment me back the way I really wanted to be complimented. I can't believe they didn't listen to my book and go, that was amazing. I can't believe I didn't get that. Take it for 2 seconds and go, you know what? That wasn't what I wanted. It didn't feel good. Maybe I could take something from it, but right now, I'm going to pass that by. I'm going to go move on because somebody else is going to be really receptive, really open at this moment, and be really excited for me. That's where I want to live, right? I don't want to live in the place of, this is my new story. They didn't do as I needed to do. I'm going to stay there and think that I actually am not a good writer. I'm actually not good at this. Forget it. Move on. Shift over because somebody else really needs to hear it. And they need to see it. And they need to be inspired by you. By you. So that's what this week for me is all about. We have these gifts that we were given. And they're amazing. And some of them you haven't even explored yet, right? Some of them are going to be new. And that's super exciting too. Don't forget you have so many things in your life that can be new. You know, as an adult, I think it's really easy for us to say, yeah, you know, when I was in high school, you know, I was in drama, I was an athlete, I was this, I was that, and then here's these little categories that we fit in or kind of fit in, or we were kind of a mush of all things and still weren't fitting in, you know, whatever it is. It's really old. And now, how excited could you really be in your life if you remembered that, hey, I'm not dead yet. Hey, I've got more life in me. Hey, you know, that looked really cool when somebody drew that. I'm going to put that on my list. I can't get to it right this second, but I'm going to go get a crafting kit and I'm going to go do that. I'm interested in that. Oh, look, I like henna. You know, I don't get tattoos, but I would like to learn henna. That's on my list. It's not a bucket list, guys. You don't want to do it like 10 years from now. You just want to do it now because you're excited about it now. You might not be excited about 10 years from now. Years ago, I wanted to do hooping, right? Because I took a hoop class. It was so fun. I was going to get a hoop, blah, blah, blah. And then I waited too long. And you know what? I'm not excited about it anymore. I have no desire to do that. So, not a bucket list. You're not waiting. You have to start now. If you like that thing that you saw on Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is, do it now. Space out part of your day that you have at least 20 minutes a day for creation. And that can mean anything, right? Creation doesn't have to look like one thing. You can go back to that list of all those interesting things you found and go, you know what? For 20 minutes now, I'm going to research how to build this. Are you guys laughing at me? Okay, that's fine. I mean, I'm okay with it. It's okay. But, so that's really what I want you to think about this week. And we're going to figure out the meditation. I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth because truthfully, the meditation is part of my creation. It's part of my channeling. And where do I get that from? That up there. Okay. So, and from you guys too. I should say that too. I can feel your needs for the week and I take it in, but all that ability to access that channeling is from God. I don't know if that clarifies anything or makes you more confused, but I'm just letting you know. So yes, part of my creativity is there, but ultimately where am I getting it from? My source. So that's the renewal I want you guys to think about this week. You know, what have I been interested in that I keep going, I don't have time for that, I don't have time for that, I don't have time for that. I am not deserving of that, and I don't deserve to share it. That is so not true, guys, okay? And I speak about this stuff from obviously experience, and also like, you know, every year I go caroling, right? I've been doing this for years now, and I get a group together, and we go, and I think we have a blast. You know, sometimes we have a ukulele, sometimes we don't, whatever. This year we didn't do it as a big group because I couldn't host them to have come in the house and have snacks and go to the bathroom. So I did it with my block, with the little kids that live on the block. We only, you know, had 4 songs, all the verses that they knew, so we didn't need music. We made it really simple. And I gotta say, like, yes, of course you get people at the door that are like so-so, but you also get the complete opposite. You get the people that are like crying. They're so happy that you're doing this. They're moved by it. One person, it reminded them of back home, wherever home may be. You know, it's a big deal. Yes, we were a little vulnerable, but we knew what we might get. We might get people that aren't interested in, and then we also get the complete opposite, which, like I said, move on to the people that are open to it. They were so happy. And I still feel that call this week to kind of share again, where I'm like, oh, I wonder if I would get way too nervous or if I should just go sing for people again, because here we are. And how do we raise the vibration? Well, your gift, you doing your gift, raises the vibration of people around you. And yes, like I said, some may be like, but the other ones are going to be like, oh my gosh, that was so good for me. Thank you so much. And that's it. I feel like I was on a bit of a high for you guys. So thank you for listening. I'm going to take a few deep breaths as you all settle in. Everybody muted themselves already. I can see this happening. Bye, Renee, I'm muting you. Taking a deep breath, slowing down. So as we slow down the breath, ultimately, everything else will slow down too, right? Good. Get my music back. Perfect. Jeannie, I didn't say hi to you. Hi. Okay. So there's a lot to be said about centering and understanding what that means for you. Everybody has a different, maybe a different way of centering, but the easiest one that we'll talk about, because it's there for everybody, is breath. And for some people, breath is not easily controlled because they haven't practiced it. Some people are mouth breathers. Some are only from the chest. And then some just don't have that awareness of how to slow it down. So that's why you always hear people talking about the breath during a meditation. It's the best and quickest way to activate your calmness, your parasympathetics in the body. It's telling your body that you're completely safe, right? No bears are attacking. And we want even safer than that, right? We want the body to feel completely loved, welcomed, warm. So we slow that breath all the way down. So there is a beauty that really comes from being centered. groundedness starts to happen because once you focus on the breath and once you slow down the mind and the breath, you'll start to feel the root happen. And it allows you to be anchored into the earth and simultaneously be connected to divine. So the grounding feeling is actually like this big pull and a lengthening in your physical, your ethereal body. It's wild. And when you're really grounded, you are pretty much the best version of yourself. You may not really understand that until you experience a full grounding, what it really feels like to be grounded. And then this divine connection starts to happen. Good, slowing down even further. And now you'll take note of any temperature changes in the body within the last couple of minutes. You might start to sense some of that. Remember, we've been practicing cultivating the chi or the prana between the hands. So waste no time here and start to activate this ball of energy between your fingers, between your hands. You can make it big or small. Just feeling that electrical pulse. Hey, Mary. So first we're going to do some visualization for the solstice. So tomorrow is the winter solstice. It's the shortest day of the year, and which means the most dark in the year. So we think of that darkest day, and a lot of people are really affected by the length of the day, really feel, the lack of vitamin D and that sunshine or lack of sunshine gets to them. I like to think of it as a perfect time to bring out your inner light, right? I know it sounds a little goofy, but it really is the perfect time. This is a time for reflection, for more stillness innately. That's what happens to us. Yin is cold and dark and damp, and this is the season for that. So things naturally slow down and they naturally become more, chilled out. So thinking of yourself as part of that slowness, part of that darkness. So it's a perfect time. Last time we were talking about the new moon. We're, moving from that time for creation to kind of just stillness and being. And then as it cycles around, then we go into new beginnings in the new year. So here we are. We're going to become still. And maybe you remember being in that fertile void with me, that big open space of darkness and air. So this is even more chill than that. Coming into yourself. It's a time to cocoon. We think about big blankets, warm, cushy things. And also I want you to really think about just going inside, internal, into the body, into the mind. So in your mind's eye, you're basically coming into a seed pose, just like fetal position, child's pose, that type of feeling, coming into yourself. Imagine yourself really crouching and tilting the chin down and just getting everything inside. See what that feels like. Remember, even when you imagine those things, it still has the same effect of actually doing it. So you go into this very, very small, the smallest part, the smallest being of yourself. Tiny. Now, when you're in the seed pose, you'll be able to sense your heartbeat, and that's the first liveness that you're going to feel. You'll be able to feel your hot breath on your body. So here you are, being all still, seemingly, and yet you're going to sense the very, very awake and live parts of yourself. Feeling the chin to the chest, feeling the warm air from your mouth and your nose. Your saliva will completely gather, and you can let that gather there for a few more breaths. You're going to sense your heartbeat and your pulse. So as we close off to the world, you're going to become very, very aware of just you. I remember one of my favorite solstice days. It was the summer solstice, and it was at my yoga teacher training at Kripalu. And we got up very, very early in the morning before the sun rose. And I took out my giant singing bowl, and we all sat in silence. No one spoke. And we played the singing bowl and just sat together and watched the sunrise. And we were awake for that whole day, the longest day of the year. And now back into the shortest. You're back into that seed pose. And you are the silence. And it's not just that you're being silent. You become it. You become this stillness. You become this quiet place. If you've ever done at least a day of silence, you know that there's some struggle that occurs, and then there's a willingness to stay as you become it. And then eventually the resistance to make sound again is more than the other way. So it's all relative, right? And what would it look like if in this world right now we had that ability to actually have a day of silence? Maybe on the shortest day of the year, that would be a nice practice to start. So you're going to keep your mind focused on you being in this seed pose. But around you, you're going to sense some life. So let's imagine that you're right on the earth. Remember, you're completely safe. There's no threat of being too cold or anything. It's just you're right on the earth. And yes, it's cold. And yes, the ground is firm. But because you have this light inside, you are not suffering. You're just experiencing a little bit more outside your body now. For us to go into expansion anywhere, it's very important for us to contact contraction, to contact a small area. So if you've ever been overwhelmed, of course you have, right? Maybe there's too many sounds around, there's too much happening. And if you ever put your hands over your ears, whether as a little kid or as an adult, because that happens too, and you're just yearning for that stillness, that moment of just nothing happening. And here you are. You can easily access this place. You can go there. We'll take a few more breaths here, thinking about the seed pose. super, super tiny. Maybe you even grab your fingers into your palms now, making a loose fist. Maybe you crouch your elbows into your body and just snuggle everything kind of into itself. Maybe you can get your body to do that comfortably. Even if you were sitting up, you can bring your chin to the chest and just kind of hug yourself in. So coming into a pose like this, you're lengthening the back of the spine, right? Opening up that area. And now very, very slowly, you're going to see yourself sitting cross-legged, really sitting up tall. And even in your mind's eyes, your eyes will be closed, resting. You're just still. And around you is this darkness that we spoke of, this shiny floor. Remember that weeks ago we talked about a shiny black floor. And you're sitting right in the center of it. You can feel that coolness. You're still unaffected. But the most noticeable thing is the quiet. And suddenly you'll note that your palms are coming up towards your heart. So hovering right in front of you is one hand stacked on the other. And when you look down, you're going to see a little gift box. Take note of the color of the gift box, the size of it, the weight of it. And before we spoke of your gifts to give, your talents, the things that you love to share, in this box you're going to find basically charms of all those things. And you'll open the box, and inside there's going to be more than you even thought. All these little charms. You're going to pick up one charm at a time. And the first charm you're going to look at really intricately. I want you to make it grander than it already is. I want it to have bling. I want it to be more detailed. This is your story, your gifts. Make it really special to you. And you'll do that, giving each charm at least 3 to 5 breaths. Really making them really special. If you're having a difficulty placing the charm, as your own, I want you to take an extra breath there and just repeat in your mind, this is my gift because I enjoy it. This is my gift because it's meant to be shared. And eventually, you're going to start to feel like it is your own. Now, when you've completed making each charm really special, you're going to find a golden string in that box as well. And the string is really, really pretty. Doesn't look like it could hold much, but it's magical, of course. And you're going to, one at a time, string each charm onto this gold string. And now there are 2 more people there to help you. And there's a giant window, clear window suddenly. And the lights shine down. You're going to notice a lot of sunshine suddenly. And you're starting to string all the gifts across this enormous window. You might notice that the landscaping is starting to change. You might notice that there's more light. You might notice a lot of things. Take notice of all of it. Right? We're meditating here. We're focusing on one thing at a time. And the mind has the freedom now, the ability to see so much more and experience so many more things now that you've been guided into safety. You're stringing all of these charms. And in between each charm, you're going to notice that there's a prism. And the prism looks like small at first, little crystals. And as you take your extra breaths, they're going to be longer crystals. And that brightness that we spoke of is going to start to go into the prisms. And there will be rainbows refracted all over. You're now going to choose one of the gifts to focus on. You're going to see those people in front of you that were helping you, and you're going to share this gift with them. See what it looks like to share this gift without any anticipation. Just knowing that you're supposed to do this at this moment. Listening to yourself, listening to that guidance. See what it feels like to share this gift. Take a breath into that feeling, what it feels like to have your gift received, to be seen in your light. Notice how your body feels, how the breath in your chest is no longer a thought. You'll notice when you get to a place like this, there is a stillness that happens because your soul is so satisfied. What a beautiful job. What beautiful work. When you hear words like soul path, maybe you think about your career, your direction, but maybe this is also the time to think about these gifts and how they contribute to your path and your soul's mission. I bet you they're so much more important than you've ever thought. So keeping into this place of quiet tonight, I invite you to remember this meditation or review it again tomorrow on the shortest day of the year, celebrating winter, celebrating the changes, celebrating these transitions. There's no more room to be scared about them. We're ready to enjoy. Enjoy that stillness, enjoy that silence. And if you missed the beginning part of tonight, please, please rewatch and listen. Very, very important to understand about your gifts. And each one of you is a gift. And as trite as it may seem, I am so grateful to have you in my life, to have you listening, and to have you, working with me together as a community. So enjoy your stillness. I'll start a new video for whoever wants to chat after for a few. But the rest of you, I'll see you soon. I hope you have a very Merry Christmas if you celebrate. And if you don't, I hope you feel the love that this week brings. And I hope you share your gifts and receive other gifts just the same.